Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Right, we're going to talk about body cameras now with Shay Donald, who is from the Police Federation of England and Wales. Benjamin Reid, his company designs and supplies cameras to 21 police forces in the UK. We've got Lawrence Barker here, who is a solicitor who works on police misconduct cases. And in our lead studio, we have Chief Inspector Ian Williams from West Yorkshire Police. Welcome, all of you. Right, Benjamin, you brought some cameras with you.
I certainly have, yeah.
Show us how they work.
Sure. Do you want to grab this one just here?
Yeah.
First of all, if you just want to pull the red sliding switch down on the side there.
Yeah, there is the red sliding switch.
Yep,
I'm going to pull it down.
There you go. You'll hear a beep.
Yeah.
So when an officer wants to start recording, they'll pull the switch down. They'll get an audio confirmation that they are recording, because sometimes they won't be able to check. And then you'll be able to see now the front-facing screen is actually displaying the footage in real time.
Yes.
So the person being recorded can actually see themselves.
Yes. So we're just obviously recording our camera at the moment, and Matt, who is behind it.
Sure,
Yeah.
and this has really sort of a great impact on the behaviour of the person being recorded. Not only are they aware that they are being filmed, but there's a visible demonstration. They can actually see themselves on camera.
Yes, you mean the person being recorded can see themselves
Correct.
on camera?
Yeah. Yes.
So that has an impact on them. And how do you access what's being recorded?
So at the end of a shift, an officer will come back and dock the camera in a docking station. Our software that we provide will then automatically pull that footage off the camera into a secure software which we provide as well. It's automatically categorized, everything is kind of password and user level protected. And there the officer is able to search back all the footage from the cameras that they've been using. They're able to look at the footage, edit it, share it with whoever needs to see it.
Edit it?
So if there's a 20-minute clip, but they only need a 3-minute clip, they're able to cut out that 3 minutes to send to the courts, perhaps, to be viewed by a jury.
But if the prosecution wanted the whole 20 minutes, they could have that?
Yeah. The original file is never altered. It's kind of a new file that's created.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. OK, so you're wearing one which just clips onto your shirt, but if you were a police officer, it would be one of these,
That's
wouldn't it?
Right, yeah. So we provide...
Why does that keep beeping?
I just keep turning it on.
Oh, right, fine.
And now it's recording.
Yeah.
Depending on the mounting method, most police forces in the United Kingdom will not use a clip like I'm using. They'll actually use this here, which is a click-fast stud. It's actually how they secure the radio and all sorts of other bits of kit on.
Yeah.
It's the most secure way of mounting. And it would just click in like that. And yeah, so it's very difficult to take off then, so it's a good mounting solution. OK,
well, let's bring in a police officer. Chief Inspector Ian Williams from West Yorkshire Police, welcome to our programme. What do you think of these body cameras?
Good morning. Yes, they're excellent. We have rolled out 2,000 of them in West Yorkshire. We're in the process of doing that. We've done that on the back of the Cambridgeshire study, which we were part of. The learning that we got from that wasn't just about reduced complaints. There are all sorts of benefits that we really need to emphasise, such as the reduction in time spent at court, the fact that vulnerable victims no longer need to go in certain cases, the increased detection rate. Complaints is a small part of it, and that's not the driving force for why we've done it. It's more about accountability and really sort of supporting victims. That's the driving force behind it for West Yorkshire Police.
Sure, but it's clearly had a modifying effect on your officers' behaviour. What do you think about that? Clearly it's a good thing, but what do you say about the fact that the cameras are having this impact?
Yeah, I'm sure it does have an impact on what they're thinking when they're there. But at the end of the day, police officers are professional people. I draw your attention to some recent examples. We had a complaint made to the police recently where the officers were wearing body-worn footage, and the allegation was in relation to the way that this lady had been treated and damage caused. And the footage was looked at an early stage of the investigation, and it was found to be completely at odds with what the complainant had said. She was phoned back and told this, and she withdrew the complaint. So it's not just about the behaviour of officers, it's about the behaviour of suspects that are being dealt with, because they will change their behaviour when they know they're on camera. And it is about the reduced complaints, because people won't make malicious complaints anymore, and we do get a lot of those. But it's also about early resolution of people who make genuine complaints, because it's absolutely right that that shouldn't be dragged out and that take any longer than it needs to take, and we can get that resolution quickly with body-worn videos.
Shay Donald, you're from the Police Federation of England and Wales. For your members, for the officers who are out and about doing their job wearing these things, are there any disadvantages?
No, I don't think so. I think when body-worn video was first introduced, it was greeted with a certain degree of scepticism. But I think as more cameras became readily available and officers themselves saw the benefits that the cameras provided, it changed that mindset. From the Federation point of view, we would recommend that every police officer that's frontline has access at least to a body-worn video, and in safety critical roles such as firearms or taser, it's a prerequisite that if you do have it, you are equipped with it.
Does the individual officer have control over when she or he switches the camera on?
He or she does. So it depends entirely the way that the situation is recorded upon when that officer switches on the camera itself. In the study that that was produced, the cameras were on all the time, and most definitely switched on before they arrived at an incident. The study also went on to show that if it was switched on halfway through the incident, it did change the playing field somewhat. So, you know, although it's fantastic and the numbers are great, it's not overall the panacea to resolving police complaints, and I think the study makes reference to that as well.
Lawrence Barker, your law firm fights cases of police misconduct, amongst others. There are some concerns over the use of body cameras by officers. What have you heard?
Well, we are cautiously positive about their introduction generally. Chief Inspector Williams picked up on, I think, a single case where a complaint may not have been warranted, but there are thousands of justified complaints each year. Anything that increases police accountability is going to be a positive thing. We have seen concerns expressed over the operation of the devices.
Meaning when they're switched on?
When they're switched on, and we have a case, for instance, where the allegation by a client is that the police engaged in a situation, turned the camera on, and there was an initial period where they dealt with each other that was fine. The camera was then turned off, and then there's an alleged assault, and then the camera is turned back on again.
Right.
And so all the time officers have control over whether the camera is recording or not. That is going to be open to that sort of abuse.
Do you accept that?
Yeah, without a doubt. It's user operated. All the time the user has control over when switching the camera on or off. What's recorded is down to the user. The only thing I would say in relation to the complaints is that the IPCC, the body who investigates offences against police, showed an increase on police complaints year on year for the last 3 years. What's also interesting to note is that although 37,000 complaints were recorded, only 31,000 were investigated. And of those 31,000 complaints that were investigated, 14% were shown to be upheld. So we also have to be mindful that a lot of times police officers in a front-facing role do face vexatious complainants.
Well, conscious of going into a debate about the police complaint system rather than body-worn cameras,
Sure.
there are serious concerns over the way in which the police investigate complaints, leading to such low numbers of complaints being upheld. But that's a separate argument.
But again, that was the IPCC.
But the point,
Getting
yeah,
back to
is there any way around the example that you gave, dealing with a client where allegedly an officer recorded the first bit, switched it off, there's an alleged assault on the individual, on the member of the public, and then after that, the camera goes back on. Is there any process, any procedures you could introduce that would get around that or not?
Well, we'd like to think that in such an incident there would have been two officers.
Yeah.
If there were two officers.
Were there two officers?
I don't know. I don't believe so.
If there were two officers, then two officers
Sure.
should have body
But if
worn
there's
video.
just one officer?
Well, then the officer's going to have to explain their own actions. At the end of the day, any use of force undertaken by a police officer has to revert back to his justification behind that. And I would say that if you've entered into an incident, why not leave the camera running through the duration of that incident, because it will only leave you with difficult questions to answer later.
And it comes also back down to policies of certain police departments. It's important that there is a robust policy in place, and we like to help our clients get those in place. And yes, so education as well of the officers, if they have a good, clear policy as to when they should start recording and when they should stop, and if they're educated correctly, then hopefully problems like that can be avoided.
Chief Inspector Ian Williams from West Yorkshire Police, there is a serious issue about recording at events like protests and keeping footage of people without their knowledge, isn't there?
There are concerns about that, and obviously this whole thing that you've just been discussing, it involves the Human Rights Act. We're very careful about how we train that, and we're very we give quite comprehensive training in relation to all that, of when you can record and when you should record. You're right about that, and people do have the right to information access requests to find out if they've been captured on any footage. We do have an imaging department that can blank out faces of people who are not involved in an incident, so if we have kept that footage for an evidential reason, anything that we display in a court or anywhere else will have all those faces blanked out, and it will only concentrate on the subject matter. So all these things are in our policy, and we've discussed those at length with the IPCC, the College of Policing, various other bodies, various other community groups. So we've done quite a lot of work on that to make sure that we're taking everyone's views into account.
Okay. How much is one of these cameras, Ben?
So these cameras are £545, but that also comes with the license to use the software, and that's the whole package. Body-worn video is not just about the camera, that's the device to
Is
capture.
that cost-effective, Shay?
Well, it all depends on how much budgets are available to each individual forces. You'll know that police forces have been subject to austerity measures, and everyone's tightening their belts in the public sector. I know some forces have ring-fenced money for the introduction of body-worn cameras, but as was just being said, the camera itself is only part of the solution. The rest of it is the back office system, which is how you store the data, how you access the data. And a big problem within UK policing is that IT infrastructure isn't as good as it should be to be dealing with such modern technology.
Okay. Thank you very much, all of you. Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks for coming on the programme. This texter says, I'm actually a supervisor managing civil enforcement officers for a local authority, and we started using body cameras 2 years ago. We have seen a reduction in assaults of over 50%, 50%. We also use the cameras for evidence gathering in disabled badge misuse cases and fraud, and our cameras are always seen, never covert. Julie says recording by the police will make the police behave and the people they're dealing with. Zoe, why doesn't every force have body cameras? And Paul says, as we've seen in the States, they can be turned off and on and manipulated to suit the needs of police officers sometimes who want to cover things up.
I've been